So, welcome along to Coffee Chat. And I hope you got your cup of coffee ready. And today I want to see and talk about the updated what's happening in China related to COVID-19 and the Omicron outbreak. Xi'an, the original capital of China, is now on its third week of the strict lockdown. In other words, you can't go out of your house. Everything has to be brought to your house. And many people, let me just close the curtain a little bit. Many people are trying to do volunteer work so they can get out of the house, which gives them access to groceries, which I saw today. But there have been outbreaks also in Shenzhen. Shenzhen is really near Hong Kong, and there's sort of like a lot of testing going on there. And also the city next to Beijing, the port of Beijing, is about 100 kilometers away. And they've been locking down and cancelling flights, cancelling trains, limited service on the metro, for example. And it brings me to what's happening in 3 weeks' time, the Olympic Games, the Winter Olympics in Beijing. In China, if you go to China right now, you have to spend 3 weeks in quarantine, in a quarantine hotel or a box that you have to pay for. The athletes taking part in the Olympic Games in Beijing and around that area, I could say very soon, or if not now, they are in China related to their quarantine time, where they would just have to stay in a room basically for 3 weeks, which is going to be very difficult for someone who's active and they can't go out. That is the law in China. I actually sort of do agree with this, that when people do come into a country, they should be quarantined with or without a vaccine, because the vaccine doesn't seem to be doing very well at the moment. They're saying booster shots in this country, even some of the workers are on their fourth injection, and their fourth injection is going to be the Pfizer one, the one from Europe, I do believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure where it's from. But this is the thing. If the athletes haven't left, do they want to go to a country which has seen an increase in days related to Omicron, which is not as serious? I don't want to use the word serious. Not as, let's just use the word serious. My brain is not working this early in the morning. Not as serious, but highly transmissible. And a large amount of people, you have all the athletes, which is thousands. Then you have their trainers, doctors, the security, the diplomats, who are not there to represent, but they're there for the security of the athletes and the well-being, etc., etc. Brings us to the question, are athletes going to actually go because of the situation? Would I go to a different country at the moment? The answer is a definite no. I'm a person who really does like to travel, but I haven't traveled for 2 years. But I'm not going to risk being in an aeroplane in a pressurized cabin with people I don't know. New Year here, for example, there's an area here called Pub Street, which was absolutely jam-packed with people celebrating the New Year. I actually stayed at home and just enjoyed a glass of whiskey with and watching some of the fireworks from local hotels or whatever there. It was actually very peaceful and really enjoyable. So would you, as an athlete, for example, because there's one city Xi'an, which has been locked down now for 3 weeks. Very close to Beijing is another place, the port of Beijing. I've forgotten the name, to be honest with you. There, that they've sort of started to close down. Shenzhen in the south is another place where they've detected cases and are possibly, they're going through the rapid testing again, the mass testing again, to go there. And my answer would be no. I know there's a diplomatic boycott with America, Canada, Australia, the UK, Lithuania, etc. And New Zealand are not doing are doing a diplomatic boycott because of they're worried about COVID. It's just another sort of like excuse, so to speak. How's your coffee? That's delicious. Will the whole games last minute be moved to next year, for example, like the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, it was moved to 2021? I don't think so. I think China is going to sort of really tighten up, and everyone near enough is going to be locked down, and the only people near enough are going to, in Beijing, are just going to be the athletes and the people who organize, and the rest of the city, if there are any cases, will be locked down. It's face value in that respect. I have looked at other countries and it seems to be once again spiraling out of control, but it's not as serious compared to the Delta variant or the original variant from 2020. It seems a long time ago since we could just get on an aeroplane, get to the airport, go through security, drink a coffee without a mask, and that was natural. Now it seems like an absolute luxury and a possibility. Is it going to be back to normal in the near future? Personally, I would say no. After Omicron, I think there'll be a different variant that comes out. It will be good if it stops to be classed as a pandemic and more as a epidemic, and living with it would be the new normal in a way that's as common as a cold, that people feel poorly for 10 days and then they feel better afterwards. I have known, and I think most people do know, someone now who has caught the virus. A family member, a friend, for example, they went into quarantine and then they went back to normal. It's just what is happening. And I did look at the China news today related to the Omicron variant, and this is where I did get the information from. Do go on websites like Global Times and you can see some information there. But is the Olympic Games going to go ahead? I can say yes. Are some athletes who are not there at the moment going to not go? I would say yes to that as well, because why go to I know you've been training so hard for this, and but your life is more important than that. It's all swings and roundabouts, and it's very difficult to mix the life balance, work balance with the COVID-19 balance, which impacts all our lives. In this city, I do believe there is one case at the moment, just one. A high percentage of this country, there's only 16 million people who live here, and maybe like 500,000 foreigners like myself who live here, have had the first and second doses of the Chinese vaccine. And you do see people walking around without masks. But still, if you go to a bank, even if you drive your car, you should be wearing a mask. In fact, it's the law. It's like a $50 fine. Oh, I love coffee. if you don't wear the mask. So what's happening with Beijing? I think we have to go to different news sources to find out. And I think we also have to go to the Chinese sources to find out what's happening there as well. So you can get both sides of the story. I could imagine that China will downplay everything and say everything's fine because it's the face value. But if cases do increase, we can find out on social media, but usually these are taken down quite fast, so we have to grab them while we can. And if people do have a VPN, for example, a virtual private network, which means they can jump over the Chinese firewall, then they can post on Twitter, for example, so it's more worldwide spread. That was today's coffee chat. If you agree, disagree, solutions, what would you do? What do you think athletes are doing? What do you think governments are doing? Please leave me a comment in the section below. It's just something new I'm doing. I'm just waffling. It's totally unprepared. I just saw a little bit of the news today while preparing for the show a little bit later today, even though this is sort of like 2 days ahead. Now I'm confusing myself. This is just an idea for a little bit of coffee that you can sit down and listen to this English guy waffle on about nothing and just continue like that. Maybe with some adverts in between it for Disney, for example. Yeah. I should really be using this cup, which is absolutely perfect for coffee. Brilliant. Yeah. And you can get this on my channel. The link is in the description below. Let's leave it there for today, and I will wish you a happy day, whatever day it is. Let's say bye-bye for now. Cheerio.